Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the European Crossover webinar. Make sure we're on the right screen. And we can look at the news meeting after the day. Okay, now we did get CPI data. Actually, a couple hours ago, we got German CPI data, which came in at 2.5%. For the CPI, came in at 0.3. German CPI data should be strong. And that was year over year, so actually month over month was 0.5%. The Italian CPI, which just came out. And as usual, Italian CPI does run a little bit late because I have not seen an update on that yet. And that actually came in flat on the Italian CPI. And we actually have CPI, not CPI, but PPI in the States, which will be out at 8:30 Eastern, along with retail sales. And we do have capacity utilization and industrial production. And business inventories, which will be out at 10 a.m. Eastern. And let's go and take a look where we're at right now. And the euro is just a little bit higher. I mean, yesterday was such a quiet day across the board with the euro, cable, Aussie. Dollar yen had actually pushed up with a very nice close, solid close yesterday, but once again, had been relatively quiet session yesterday. We'll take a look here where we stand with the cable. Cable is still in a fairly tight range. Which is trading what, about a 29 pip trading range for cable. We'll move it to Aussie. Same thing here, relatively tight range, as was the day before here with Aussie. And on to dollar yen, which had a pretty nice little run yesterday as we closed above 110, but same here, very, very tight session. I guess we're into the summer doldrums, with the exception of the little run that we had here yesterday, which wasn't out of the ordinary, but considering what the other pairs have closed, we have a normal range here in dollar yen. Let's go on and take a look where we stand here with the cash dollar index. And after posting a doji yesterday, it's also relatively quiet. And take a look here, even with crude oil here. Trading in a super quiet session also, which is a little bit surprising considering the huge move we've had in crude oil. And now all of a sudden it's got a little bit shy here. Now gold, which had saw a pretty good pullback yesterday, we talked about that, we'd had such a strong run from where this market um, had bottomed out around 1675. Um, you see right there, which almost like a near double bottom. And what an epic run that we had. We stalled here over the last couple of weeks and we dipped back yesterday. We were able to get beyond 1850, goose some stops. We did go in and come back, and once again, wow, even gold here, even with that strong move that we had, you can see here, very quiet overall. These markets are really taking their time. We did see indices. Indices did go in and push to new highs. Now, we got the September NASDAQ up here, but when we also have on here the September, which we've already pushed into the roll into the September contract. But you can see here we still have the June contract. But nonetheless, they both went to June and September, went to all-time highs here in the NASDAQ. And we also saw a respective move here in the S&Ps. Once again, this is a September contract, but I have gone and pushed into the September. Not to say that that's the June contract. Here they're shown on the daily, but we have gone and rolled into the Septembers. And take a look at Bitcoin. And Bitcoin surprised with the move that we did go and make. And actually, we're still even above right now, above 40,000. And as I mentioned, shared with you yesterday, I thought we were going to go on and break 30,000 and goose some stops. We did go and dip into 30,000, but the market recovered, and then it looked like it would just stall here. Maybe we retrace back to around 32, see what happens after that. But no, we saw a pretty good move here and had some pushed up to above 40,000. Open the door for a potential further move that can go a few thousand higher from here. Actually, we're looking for around 46,000 potentially. And with that, we're going to get started with the bias chart. So the euro closed slightly higher on Monday in a very quiet session. You can certainly see how quiet that was. Support for Tuesday will be 2050 with resistance at 2173. The 2050 is just going to be a little bit below here. Right there. Right there. We're coming below right here. It almost touches here across these wicks. Generally, I won't do it with the wicks, but I'm just looking in case we do go on and push. Considering how tight the range was yesterday, I was thinking if we do dip lower, I didn't think that we were going to, ahead of F1C, we're going to blast any ranges. So henceforth, while we come up with the 2050, and on the upside, 2173. And you can see right there, green 2171. Coming right across the lows right there. I think there would be resistance. Once again, we're trading in a relatively tight range, so 2171. Moving on to the cable, which is also trading, as I mentioned yesterday, also traded in a very quiet session. The cable, just like the euro, posted a mild positive close in what was a very tight session on Monday. Resistance on Tuesday will remain 41.74 on the upside, followed by we supported 40.48, followed by 40.14. So no changes here in the cable, and what, as I mentioned, was a very, very tight session here. Um, we seem to be just going nowhere for right now. No movement whatsoever. And you can see right here where we're coming right across his body in here. There. For resistance. And if we do go in and break low, we're looking for 40.48. There. Followed by 40.14. Just a dip below that. But as I indicated, we're just trading a very, very quiet session. It's just quiet across the board. As I noted, even with the move that we saw in gold, also today we got a fairly timid market, even there, and also with crude oil. Let's go in and move into the Aussie dollar. Same thing here with the Aussie dollar. Like I said, look at this range here yesterday. Although we have been for nearly 2 months just basically stagnant. So the Aussie also traded in a very quiet session on Monday. Resistance will remain the same on Tuesday at 77.88 with support at 76.55. And just seem to be going nowhere fast. And I'm just surprised that we just have not been able to really go anywhere in 2 months. With the exception of this little break above here, but that's it. And on to the dollar yen. Now the dollar yen has been on an up and down affair. Up, down, for the last 2 weeks with no momentum. Now, actually, this isn't the update that I had here for yesterday. The update is that we saw a pretty good solid close here. Unlike the other ones, other dollar majors, or majors, just say the dollar pairs. We saw this market close above 110 to close out Monday. Resistance is going to be right here at 1028, followed by potentially, if we were to get there, 1066. Right there. And actually, you could even move a little bit higher. That would actually come right across there, 1070. So it's going to be 1028 followed by 1070. I'm sure that we're going to go all the way up there, go 1070. And support right here at this bottom, right there, 983. Moving on now to the cash doll index. So the cash doll index closed Monday with a doji. You can see it right here. Resistance remains the same of 90.78 right there, 90.78 coming across the board, with consecutive closes above that to establish a short-term bottom. Support will remain at 89.98. So right here. So we will need, as I mentioned, consecutive closes above 90.78 in order to establish a short-term bottom. But you can certainly see here that would be resistance. Actually, there we go. 90.78. And with support, as I mentioned before, is going to be 89.98, which is 40 ticks away. With that, we're going to move into Bitcoin. Bitcoin closed above Monday's buys chart resistance, which was 39,270. The coin has the potential for an eventual test of 46,590. That puts us right there. 46,590. That's what potentially this market could go to. Resistance for Tuesday will be 41,940, which is going to come in right there. 41,940. With support at 38,320. You see the bodies right there? Right there. Let's actually look at that wick right there. 38,320. 41,940. And been really quite impressed with what Bitcoin been able to do. I never would have thought that thing would recover like that. And 38,320. It's going. And as I said, just looking for immediate resistance is going to come in right there, 41,940. But potentially this is what we're looking for, move up here, challenge. Don't mean it's going to come too quickly, but with us breaking back above there, you would see some further follow through and potentially there could be something. Let's now go and move into the S&Ps. Now, I still have the September here, but I have gone and rolled into, the June, again, September. Still have the June here, but I have rolled into the September here. That's on the 2-hour chart, though. The S&P closed at new all-time highs on Monday. The next challenge will be 41.75 with immediate resistance at 42.65 on the September contract. Support will be 42.41 followed by 42.34. Now, if you look on the 2-hour chart, you can see here we got just a little small. I'm not even sure you didn't call it much, or even the gravestone doji, because it looks not even very long. But it's, and did a little bit of a tail here, but just about like the gravestone doji. But nonetheless, and 42.65. And let's go and move into the NASDAQ. Same thing here, got the June contract. You can see we went to all-time highs, but I am sharing here on the September contract. There we go. And what a run it's been. We're able to push above there. Looking further out here on the be looking for a move to 14,190. And support is actually going to be the old all-time highs, which is 14,064. Taking a look where we're at, same thing here. We're trading in a relatively quiet session right here. You can see here on the 30-minute chart, real tight range. Same thing here. We're seeing this here with the with the S&Ps. After going to new highs, we're not really doing a whole lot with it. And those new highs actually came in at the end of the session. So we do have FOMC. We'll have to see what they say. But as they say, when in doubt, err on the dovish side. But we haven't had much participation at all whatsoever by larger players since last week. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not, if we did push new highs, if there's anything above that. But you can see we're trading quietly. With that, we're going to move into the gold market. So the gold on Monday fell near to 1845, taking out stops at 1850. Remember, we were when we were doing the analysis yesterday, and we said, well, you know what, they're probably going to take that out anyway. And we actually had our bias chart at 1842, but it did stop at 1845. 45. Um, the metal was open to a pullback after stalling over the last 2 weeks. Support for Tuesday will be 1852 with resistance at 1879. But you can see we're trading very, very quiet. We do have support right here. You can see at 1854, but I'm thinking, okay, they can test a little bit lower. But we're trading a super quiet session. I guess it looks like they may sit there in a relatively quiet session ahead of FOMC or the actual decision. Let's go on and move this down to, let's still go with 1850. Okay, we'll go with 1852 as noted. Although we may not even see that if it does dip until tomorrow. And on the upside, 1879. Same thing here. Looks like it's just going to be quiet trading until tomorrow. But if we dip back here, we do have such as 1854. But see this, probably taking that out just a little bit, then coming back. Let's go move this. And let's go and move into crude oil. And we have gone and rolled into the August crude. And you can see we've rolled into August now. Crude oil rolling into the August contract. Crude closed at new highs at nearly $71. Resistance for Tuesday will be 71.46. We're supported 70.01, but as I said here, it's another market that's gone shy after some pretty bold moves. Look at that. And all of a sudden, this is pretty unbelievable for crude, but look, in the last 6 hours, essentially, holy smokes, we're only trading about 23 cent range in nearly 6 hours. But that being said, resistance will be 71.46. And on the downside for support, 70.01. We did narrowly make it to that 161% extension and came up a little bit short. And as I mentioned, we're in a fairly quiet session. There's not even much moving on. These markets are just dead trading. Look at that. They're really trading ever so quiet. We did push a little bit higher in the Asian session, but as I said, we've paired back. Market's gone quiet. We try to move higher, and we're just trading very quiet. FOMC probably is going to be a lot of volatility. I have to see how that all plays out. With that, we've got the bias chart. There's not, I guess, not a whole lot to go and discuss considering how quiet things are. I'll get that posted in the room. And thanks for joining us here on the European Crossover.